But this brother, Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis, the time has come for the world to recognize this is one of the top 5 fighters on the planet.
Who do you want to see him fight next?
Shakur Stevenson, the fabulous boxer. The punch, I don't think he could take a punch from Gervonta Davis. Yeah. I don't see it. Gervonta Davis might be the best in the world. He can punch, he's a knockout artist. He can box, he's not given enough credit for it, okay? He closes, he finishes. Once he smells blood, he's like a shark in blood-infested waters, Molly. He will finish you, okay? And by the way, he is an elite boxer.
Smith didn't hold anything back, openly mocking Shakur Stevenson for failing to sign the contract for a fight with Gervonta Davis. He argued that Shakur simply doesn't have what it takes to defeat Tank, describing Davis as the more complete, dangerous, and explosive fighter who deserves a much higher level of respect within the boxing world.
For legitimate fight purposes, Gervonta Davis, to me, is the #1 attraction in boxing. He's the #1 attraction in boxing. He will finish you. Yeah. He will close. And this brother comes, and he's one of those guys. They call him, the mini Mike, as a Mike Tyson. Yeah. He's willing to take a punch to give it now. Yeah. And I haven't seen him hurt. He got bruised. Yep. He might have bruises, but I ain't seen nobody wobble him. I ain't seen anybody.
Gervonta Davis has consistently criticized Shakur Stevenson, labeling him a boring defensive boxer who lacks knockout power. Davis argues that Stevenson doesn't hit hard enough and fails to bring the kind of excitement fans want to see. In his view, Shakur's style is too cautious, doesn't entertain audiences, and isn't the type of boxing that generates major interest or widespread attention.
135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right, so why people even talk like he the best at, he didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 126, 30 or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you, all that's just okay.
Rolando Romero also entered the conversation, insisting that Shakur Stevenson wouldn't stand much of a chance against Gervonta Davis. Romero argued that Shakur still hasn't defeated enough truly elite or high-profile opponents, suggesting his resume lacks the defining victories needed to prove he belongs at that level. He also claimed that Tank currently holds the strongest resume in the entire 135-pound division.
Better resume than Tank at 135.
Loma?
Loma retired, active.
Shakur before he moved on?
Shakur has a better resume.
At 130.
Who has Shakur beat?
But who's Tank really like? Other than that,
everyone Tank's beat became world champion. So tell me, that electrician dude was a good win at 35.
Electrician? What do you want about?
Who he beat? Name me 3 Shakur opponents.
I think Shakur, bro. But when you look at Tank, all right. So all right. Tell me.
Oscar Valdez that had his jaw broken in 2018 that's been burnt out and off the juice for a while now.
So who's Tank's best win? Who's Tank's best win?
There's plenty of them.
Who's Tank's best win?
We all became world champion after.
Fair enough. So
Rolando Romero also spoke about Gervonta Davis's ongoing personal struggles, saying that everyone faces difficult periods and that people on the outside rarely know the full situation. Romero showed support for Tank as well, expressing hope that he returns soon and gets back to performing at the level fans are used to seeing from him.
From me, it's sad, but Gervonta Tank Davis can't stay out of trouble. I know he's been bailed out, but just your thoughts on the whole thing?
Just because his stuff went public, everyone gone into some trouble, you know? Just, I mean, like I said, when you're the big fish, you know, all you gotta do is just keep to yourself, man, in reality. But like I said, at the end of it, we don't know what truly happened or any of that stuff. They could all say whatever, you know, there's 2 sides to every single story.
We'll see him return?
Yeah, I want to see Gervonta Davis. Bro, he's one of the most entertaining fighters in boxing.
Is he still as good as, I mean, if you look at the resume, no win in 18 months, etc., is he still as good? Can he still hang?
He fought once in 18 months.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, dude,
I'm saying activity's important in this game.
Okay, well, I mean, he tried to fight, but I mean, things happen, you know?
Against Jake Paul, Rolly.
The what?
Against Jake Paul, though.
Yeah, but so what, man? So what, man?
You part of the Tank fan club, that's fair.
What?
You're in the Tank fan club.
Bruh, I like Tank, bruh. Tank's a great fighter, bruh. Dude, they all want to talk bad about Tank, but man, dude, done everyone Tank beat ended up becoming world champion?
Mike Tyson also gave his strong opinion on the matchup, saying Gervonta Davis is the one fighter he believes can beat Shakur Stevenson. Tyson praised Tank's explosive punching power, sharp timing, and aggressive killer instinct, arguing that those qualities could eventually break through Shakur's highly technical defensive style.
Great fighter. He is a great fighter. You know, especially when he's serious about it. You know, I don't know if he's as serious as he used to be, but when he was serious, he was a hell of a fighter, and nobody came close. He's the only one I gave a chance against Shakur and that guy, Gervonta Davis, they're scary fighters too, because they're sophisticated. The other guys are sophisticated and mean. The Tank is just a force of nature. You know, you just gotta give him the credit. You know, even though he's talk stuff, he's the man. Shakur and Tank, oh God, I don't even. Ooh, it's gonna be interesting, because if Shakur handles this guy like he did Lopez, I was in hell with him. I was in hell with Shakur there. If he just handles this guy like he did, I was in hell with him. Somebody gotta give him a fight though, but you gotta be very sophisticated to know how to fight. This is when I know you lost against Shakur. This is when I know you lost. You see when he does this stuff? Once you start doing this stuff and looking at him, oh,
Mike Tyson said a matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis would be extremely entertaining for boxing fans. He explained that Shakur doesn't necessarily need knockout power to win the fight, because his technical skill, movement, and ability to outbox opponents on points could still give him a real path to victory. Tyson also added that Davis is exactly the kind of dangerous opponent who could force Shakur to bring out the absolute best version of himself inside the ring.
Who win out of Shakur and Gervonta?
Yeah. Gervonta Davis?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. I like to go with Tank because of the, you know, everyone's gonna go with Tank, you know, but it would be a very interesting fight.
How could, for us that are not boxing analysts, how could Shakur beat him if he can't hurt him? That would be my question.
Listen, you don't have to hurt him, you just have to outscore him. You know, Shakur takes a good shot though, you know. He's a specialist. That's why some fights that he doesn't look good in, because he's so superior. And it's boring watching sometimes. But he's a specialist. He knows what he's doing. He's hard to beat.
So when the speed picks up and the aggression starts,
to bring out the best in Shakur, you gotta pressure him like Tank. Tank will bring out the best of him, and we'll see a great fight. Tank is just a monster right now.
Stephen A. Smith said he wants to see Gervonta Davis move up to the 140-pound division and start taking on even bigger challenges. He brought up fighters like Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Shakur Stevenson, emphasizing that Tank has the ability to dominate at 140 and should focus on legacy-defining fights against the sport's top elite opponents.
The mindset that Tank is so much stronger than people realize, so much more powerful of a puncher than people realize. I want to see him up at the 140-pound limit. Don't make a Ryan Garcia come down to 135. Don't have the hydration clause in there. Yeah. Don't avoid, and he's not avoiding anybody. But I'd also like to see him against a Teofimo Lopez.
Eddie Hearn believes Shakur Stevenson is one of the most underrated fighters in boxing today. He argues that fans often fail to fully appreciate his brilliance because his victories come through skill, defensive mastery, and high-level ring IQ rather than highlight reel knockouts. Hearn says Shakur's control of distance, precise timing, and elite technique make him exceptionally hard to beat at the highest level of the sport.
Shakur is massively underrated in terms of his achievements and his ability. Everyone in boxing knows how good Shakur is. He is pound for pound, top 5 in terms of quality. But look at the achievements of the young man. At 28 years of age, he's already a 3-division world champion. This is to become a 4-division world.
Roy Jones Jr. praised Shakur Stevenson as potentially one of the best fighters across the 135 to 140-pound divisions, pointing to his elite footwork, defensive control, and high-level technique. He stressed that Stevenson's skill set makes him extremely difficult to defeat, especially for opponents who struggle to deal with movement, timing, and advanced ring IQ.
Understand, defense isn't with your hands, it's with your feet. And he has the best foot defense of the game. So if he uses it for defense, when it's strictly defense, yes. But when you want to make it offensive, you can't do the same. You got to cut it in half. And that's the only thing he had a problem with. Once he learned that, or figures that out, he gonna be a killer.
Would the skill he has now make him the best out of them four?
Right now, no. Because some people gonna say, boy, and the reason the rest of them don't want to fight him is because they know he know that back foot game so well that he's not gonna engage until he wants to engage. And that's a good thing too. But for the fans and to be
Not right now.
The ratings, you gotta be able to engage when they need you to engage. If you can't, then you're gonna become bored. So he's not boring unless you don't understand boxing.
Right.
You understand boxing, he's not.
With the current landscape of global boxing shifting and promotional priorities evolving, Turki Alashik appears to be leaning more towards staging massive, high-profile events, especially involving British stars like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. This kind of direction could have a ripple effect on fighters like Shakur Stevenson, potentially limiting opportunities for gradual tune-up fights before stepping into elite-level matchups.
Was getting paid by Turki Alashik and the Saudis, and then he switched over to Paramount Plus, right? And acted like he was going to do both at the same time. Well, with the war in Iran, he can't do either. So that means both of them are up in the air. Now, what does that mean for real fighters? It's okay for real fighters. It's going to work out for just fine for Shakur Stevenson. It's going to work out just fine for guys like Devin Haney, and provided Devin doesn't go over to Zuffa. It's going to turn out fine for those guys, as long as they can actually win the fights that they get.
Instead, fighters today are more likely to be fast-tracked into higher-risk, high-reward matchups where they have to prove themselves immediately. In earlier eras, stars like Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford were often given multiple fights to gradually build toward blockbuster events. But that slower development path may no longer be as realistic in the modern boxing business model.
They're going to have to actually fight these tough fights, and they're not going to be able to have 5-6 setup fights before you get to it. Because that's the game that I believe Shakur was playing. Because that's the game that Floyd Mayweather played. That's the game that Terence Crawford played, where they would take 3, 4, 5 fights before the actual big fight that people are talking about took place. That's what happened with Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. That happened with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Some people, it was both Errol and Terence that did it. No, whatever. Still, both guys did it, then both guys took several fights before that took place, right? Big fights with money, good money in them. So Shakur now can't do that. Cannot do that. Number one, Matchroom Boxing, who was really running DAZN, let's be honest. Matchroom Boxing, which runs DAZN, because Matchroom actually is owned. Matchroom USA is actually owned in part by DAZN and by Sella, who is the Turkey people. They're going to be putting their resources and their efforts into British fighters. The Tyson Fury fight that they want to make with Anthony Joshua, if they can find some way to get that done. That's what they're going to be looking for. They're not going to be looking at the fighters that they had on undercards. It's just that simple. Shakur Stevenson was fighting on undercards for these guys. Devin Haney is fighting on undercards for these guys. Right? Keyshawn Davis fighting on undercards for these guys. Pretty much everybody that was at Top Rank fighting on undercards for these guys. They're not going to prioritize the undercard.
Now, if Shakur Stevenson wants the biggest fights and the highest paydays, he may have to take them sooner rather than later, often on more direct terms without the long, carefully staged build-up that fighters once relied on.
At the end of the day, the money is there for Shakur, but the money's going to be with Shakur. He's going to have to tuck his pride. James Prince is going to have to tuck his pride and go over there to the PBC, call Steven Espinoza if Al's not there anymore, and get this fight made. You know, and Shakur is somebody that could win the fight. The thing is that is going to be prohibited is that they're not going to allow Shakur to make 4 and 5, 6 different fights and get $1 million, $5 million each, run up $30 million, and then at the end, let's go for the big one. If you're going to get the big one, you're going to get the big one at a price that is a reasonable price, and then if you can win the fight, after that you become the big dog, right? Because you're the ones with the fans. The reason that Gervonta is the fan right now is because he's got the fan. Is the man right now is because he's got the.
Many experts argue the real reason the fight hasn't materialized yet is rooted in the financial structure behind major boxing events. High-profile matchups only get finalized when the purse split, promotional agreements, and broadcasting terms work for all parties involved. Promoters, networks, and fighters all have to align on a deal that ensures strong revenue on every side. That's why money remains the central factor in making blockbuster fights a reality. If the financial terms don't satisfy both camps, the bout simply doesn't happen, no matter how strong the public demand or hype around the fighters may be.
Boxing business, you get fighters, they go back and forth on Twitter, and they be like, let's fight. You gotta put the business in between that, because fighters will be fighting all the time just because they're arguing back and forth. But the business gotta make sense. So it's always about the bag. So that's why I feel like Turk Al-Sheikh come in, because he'll say, hey, here go the money, get these fights to happen. That's why I can't believe that Bud have to move up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, and David Benavidez was right there at 168 comfortably. That's why the business of boxing took over. But I respect Shakur for actually saying he want the fight. Where is he at in the 6 fight deal? And where is he at in the 6 fight deal? Is his 3rd fight or something like that with Tank?
It's a good question.
It's early. It might be 2 or 3 fights in.
You sure you're not freestyling?
Shakur Stevenson said he is fully confident he would win the fight and believes it represents a true best versus best matchup. He explained that when 2 elite fighters meet, the real goal is to prove who is superior in skill, timing, and ring IQ. Stevenson added that he welcomes the challenge and views it as a defining moment in his career, where top-level ability must be tested against top-level opposition. He also suggested that both fighters operating at the highest tier is exactly what makes the potential bout exciting for fans, and he is ready to demonstrate why he considers himself among the very best in boxing today.
I think at the end of the day, you and Tank is a fight that should happen. It absolutely should happen. And I believe it will. I mean, you guys are both in charge of your career. I think it's a good style matchup. Like you said, the networks are out of the way. The promoters are out of the way. He's flexible, you're flexible. I don't see why it wouldn't happen.
It's the best versus the best.
Absolutely right.
Let's make the best fight in boxing happen.
And when you guys meet, how does that fight play out?
I ain't gonna give you no game.
You think I'm gonna jump on the phone with Tank right after?
No, I would tell you this. I'm gonna come out victorious.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I stand by.
Okay. That's what you gotta say. You're supposed to say that.
No,
right?
It ain't what I'm supposed to say. It's what I know.
Sean Porter argued that even though Gervonta Davis carries elite knockout power, he still wouldn't be able to simply overpower Shakur Stevenson. He compared the style matchup to Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, explaining that high-level skill, defense, and ring control can neutralize even elite punching power. Porter believes Stevenson's movement, timing, and boxing IQ make him extremely difficult to land clean shots on, forcing opponents to think strategically instead of relying on aggression. While Tank's explosiveness remains a constant threat, he suggested Stevenson's technical approach could allow him to control the pace, win rounds consistently, and frustrate power punchers over a full 12-round fight. In Porter's view, discipline and strategy become more important than single-shot knockout ability in matchups like this, which is why Stevenson has a legitimate path to outbox even the most dangerous punchers in boxing.
When he come across Shakur Stevenson, I'm going to say it here on the front page, and Tank, I love you, brother, and still would love to talk to you.
100.
But when you get in there with Shakur, it's going to remind me of Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because what you gonna do when you come across a motherfucker you can't knock out? Yeah. Only thing you gonna do is just get more frustrated.
That's a terrible analogy.
I'm just saying.
Only reason why I'm saying it's a terrible analogy is because Tank Davis. Remember, you've heard Coach Cal say this all the time. He says the same thing, and I know exactly what he means. We just waiting on somebody to pull it out of him. You ever hear him say that?
Yeah, yeah.
We got so much. It's just we ain't been able to show it because ain't nobody been able to pull it out of him. We looking forward to the big fights. We looking forward to the big matchups because those are the kind of people that's gonna pull it out of him. So with a fight with Shakur, you're gonna see this boxing style that you don't usually get from Tank.
Shakur Stevenson said a potential fight between him and Gervonta Davis is bigger than boxing itself, pointing to the history, rivalry, and build-up surrounding the matchup. He explained that it is difficult to even fully discuss because, in his view, the fight feels almost inevitable. Stevenson believes both fighters are elite talents and among the very best in the division, meaning a meeting in the ring is something that naturally has to happen. In his perspective, fights of this magnitude only fail to materialize if one fighter is not truly operating at that level or experiences a setback. He also broke down Davis's strengths, acknowledging his power while stressing that he is not just a puncher. Stevenson described Davis as strategic, patient, and experienced, someone who can break opponents down gradually over time rather than relying on a single explosive moment.
Kind of bigger than boxing, I guess you could say, because like the history and like everything that went on. It's hard to even speak on it just because of the fact that we got to fight. So at the end of the day,
You feel that's gonna happen?
Yeah, I know it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm the best, he the best. So you got two guys that's the best, how can you not fight? Only way you could not fight if one of them guys ain't like that and somebody go off to lose or somebody take an L. But I think like with both of us, we both fighters that's really good fighters and on that level.
From a boxing standpoint, what makes Tank? We see the power, but it's gotta be more than that.
Nah, he's strategic. He's setting guys up. He been boxing since a little kid, just like I've been boxing since a little kid. And you can tell like with the experience. Even with his last fight with Frank Martin, you can see Frank Martin was more so an amateur. Like the experience he got is not on the level of like Tank. And he just took off with experience. He let him waste his energy, gassed him out, and then round 8, okay, it's time to go home.
When would you like to see that fight happen?
Whenever. I think that I'm ready for it, he ready for it, we both in our primes. It can happen next, it can happen next year, it can happen whenever he say.
Steven Espinoza highlighted several missed opportunities in Gervonta Davis's career, particularly high-profile fights that came close but never fully materialized. He noted that Davis was once near a potential matchup with Vasyl Lomachenko, but the negotiations ultimately fell apart after Lomachenko withdrew from discussions. Espinoza also referenced talks involving Shakur Stevenson, explaining that Stevenson was more interested in a multi-fight agreement rather than a single one-off bout against Tank. According to him, these differences in negotiation strategy, along with complex promotional arrangements, played a significant role in delaying what fans often consider dream matchups. He emphasized that in modern boxing, financial structure and contract terms are often the deciding factors in whether elite fights actually get made.
The public, can you understand why the public is just like, bruh, fight somebody else, fight somebody quote unquote better, just from the public standpoint? Can you understand that?
Yeah, I certainly get it. You know, and people have a short memory. They tend to forget that, you know, he was very close to fighting Lomachenko, and then Lomachenko pulled out. And there were discussions with Shakur. Shakur wanted a multi-fight deal. He didn't want to do sort of a one-fight deal to fight Tank. So, you know, that doesn't happen. Now, we could revisit Shakur in the future.
What do you think about the whole Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis situation and why the fight still hasn't happened? Drop your opinion in the comments.